Raider Nation, what's going on? Mitchell Renz here from Chat Sports. You're watching the Raiders Report. Even though the season's over, I get it, y'all. I know it didn't go the way that we were hoping. 6-3 start to finish 8-8, but at least they finish on a high note. But even though that this year is over, I promise you one thing. Video is the entire offseason. We're going to talk about players that the Raiders could draft. We're going to talk about free agency targets. We're going to be breaking down news and rumors the entire offseason, daily videos, I promise you. So don't miss anything. Go ahead, hit that big red button that says subscribe, and turn on those notifications just in case there's some breaking news.
So nation, no matter the location, from OAKLA to LV, I'm a Raider.
Overreaction Monday after the Raiders' 32-31 win over the Denver Broncos. So what I wanted to do on today's show is break down the 5 biggest storylines that are circulating around the internet around the Raiders after their game. And you know what? Since it was the final game of the season, I wanted to just sprinkle in a little bit of some off-season drama as well. The first thing that we're going to talk about on today's show, it's Derek Carr. And is he going to be returning to the Las Vegas Raiders in 2021? How many Chucky heads is it? Drum roll, please. It's 4 Chucky heads. Believe it, baby. I mean, this is something that I think a lot of us expected. I know a lot of people might be upset about it. I also know a lot of people are going to be excited about it. Right before the Week 17 game, Adam Schefter tweeted out that the Raiders plan to stick with Derek Carr in 2021. My answer to that is this. No crap. Because for me, Derek Carr was definitely one of those quarterbacks where you saw a lot of good, and sure you saw some bad. But he still has 2 years left on his deal. And even though some of y'all might still think that, oh, Derek Carr ripped us off a little bit, he's got the 16th highest contract among quarterbacks right now. I guarantee you Dak Prescott's going to make more. I guarantee you there's like 2 or 3 other quarterbacks that are going to get new contracts as well. And guess what? He's probably going to be like 18th, 19th, maybe even 20th. It's a good value for a quarterback that's going to give you these type of numbers. The fumbles, they're painful to look at. There's no other way to look at it. 27 touchdowns, 17 turnovers. But he did have a career high in passing yards. He had 27 TDs, which I actually thought was a lot better considering, again, we're entering an offseason where there's some questions on whether or not he has a number 1 wide receiver. I might actually make the argument that it's Darren Waller. Shout out to him. Everyone type DW in the comments. 107 catches, set a new record, breaking Tim Brown's record. Waller might be the best contract that this team has on the books right now, but that's not the guy I'm talking about. I'm talking about Derek Carr and whether or not the Raiders should end up sticking with him. So I haven't done this in a while, and I want everyone that comes across this video to do this. I'm going to make this the pinned comment on today's video. So the very first question that you're going to see, and I want everyone to respond to it, should the Raiders stick with Derek Carr? Why for yes or and for no? The answer is yes, and it's for multiple reasons here. The biggest reason, his contract, it makes a lot of sense to end up keeping him. Sure, you can cut him. You save $19.25, but find me a better quarterback that's worth $22.5 million. Seriously, if you can do it, hit me up on Instagram at MitchellRentz365 or throw those names in the comments because I don't think you can. The other reason is we've seen how difficult Gruden's system is. We've seen how tough and how long it takes for some quarterbacks to be able to pick it up. Let's say you don't want Carr for the long term. I think the easiest thing that you should do is keep Carr and maybe draft somebody, but then you can learn under him, or sign somebody in free agency again to maybe learn under him. The issue is you're not finding somebody in free agency. There's not many quarterbacks that the Raiders can take at number 18 that I honestly, or at number 17, that I honestly like all that much. Now, today's sponsor, something that I do like a lot, is our awesome deal we got going on with BetUS. Even though the year's over, I still want you to have fun. Betting on NFL games is always good, and free money, y'all can offer me free money today, tomorrow, in the future, 10 days from now, it doesn't matter. I'm going to accept it. So if you go to chatsports.com/Raiders, and if you use promo code Raiders125, it gets you a 125% deposit bonus. So if you deposit at least $100, you get $125 for free. What am I betting on this week? I'm betting on every single wild card game. I'm going balls to the wall here. So the first one we're going to talk about is the AFC. Buffalo, Indiana, Tennessee, Baltimore, Pitt against Cleveland. So for me, the 3 games that I'm betting on here as well, obviously, I'm going to take the Colts to cover, plus 7.5. I have the Bills winning this game outright, but I am taking the Colts to at least cover that. I don't think they lose by 7.5. The Titans, I have them winning this game, and they're going to cover because they're right now the underdog, 3.5. The Browns are also underdogs to the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm not sure if they win it, but this seems like a game where it's going to end in 1, 2, or a field goal. So give me the Browns, the Titans, and the Colts to cover. All right, so look at the NFC now, where we got Seattle going up against the Rams at home, Washington at home against the Bucs, and then the Saints at home against the Chicago Bears. My 3 bets that I'm putting on this one, the Rams to cover. I have the Seahawks winning this game, but NFC West games to me are always really, really close, so I think the Rams lose by a field goal. Washington, Tampa Bay. I can't tell you who's going to win this one. I don't want Tom Brady to win, but I do know one thing. It's going to be under 46.5 points. And then the Saints to cover. This one is just going to be an alert right now. If Alvin Kamara plays, I am making this bet. If Alvin Kamara does not end up playing, then I'm going to take the Bears to cover the 10-point spread. All right, y'all, let's get into my next topic here. The Raiders, it's done deal. Pick number 17, lock it for Chucky heads, believe it, baby. This is the fun time of the year now where we can start breaking down some mock drafts. We're going to start looking at some Raiders draft targets, some draft needs. And speaking of those needs, I was asked right after the game, Mitch, what are the biggest needs that this team has right now? This isn't just draft needs. This is also needs, I would say, in free agency as well. But I got safety, edge rushers, defensive tackle, cornerback, and wide receiver. In a perfect world, I'm taking Justin Simmons. I'm taking a guy like Marcus May, Anthony Harrison, free agency. You take care of the safety need. Edge rusher, defensive tackle. I think if you can get a guy like Gregory Rousseau, Marvin Wilson would be phenomenal. I get the fact that we got Trayvon Moore and Damon Arnett. I'm not really excited of what I've seen from Damon Arnett. I'm sorry. And then wide receiver. I'm not really excited what I've seen from Henry Ruggs either, and I think Nelson Aguilar is going to test free agency. So, right now, these are my biggest needs. Obviously, this can change. So, go down to the comments. I'm curious. What is the Raiders' biggest need as I make this video on January 4th, 2021? It still sounds weird, doesn't it? 2021. It sounds funky. Seriously, that's what the Raiders report's about. It's not just about one dude giving his opinion. This is a show about the nation, and I want you all to get your voices on here. So, what is the Raiders' biggest need? Go down in the comments and let me know. One of my needs I got going on right now is for y'all to hit me up on IG, slide in those DMs. Is it creepy? A little bit. But the reason why I tell y'all to do it is because obviously the more and more the YouTube channel grows, it's harder and harder for me to keep up with everyone. And I want to try to get to know y'all. I want to know what's going on in your lives. And 2020 has taught us one thing, that we need to get closer. So if you ever want to talk Raiders with me, if you ever have a question that I don't answer on the show, hit me up on Instagram. I'm at Mitchell Renz 365. All right, let's go to the next topic here. Number 3, is it time to hire a new offensive coordinator and a new defensive coordinator? Well, guess what, man? I'm definitely giving this one like 2 Chucky heads. I'll say people are talking. When I think of some offensive-minded guys to at least keep in mind, here's my list. The reason why I'm bringing it up is because Greg Olsen, he's the OC. But is he actually? John Gruden's the one calling the shots, and I think John Gruden is a great head coach. I don't think he's a good play caller. There's a big difference there, right? So if I'm the Raiders, I'm looking at going out and hiring a younger-minded guy who can really spike some things up. Mike Kafka, Shane Waldron, those are probably my top 2 guys. Luke Getsy, Mike LaFleur. I think Mike LaFleur is a sneaky name. And then Pep Hamilton. He's done a phenomenal job with Justin Herbert and the Chargers, and the Chargers fired Anthony Lynn, so Pep might be looking to get out of there as well. So go down in the comments and let me know. Name an OC that the Raiders should go out and hire. No offense to Greg Olsen. He's just not the guy that I want to see anymore, and I want somebody that John Gruden is going to listen to. I want a new young guy to be able to bring some new creative, fun ideas, because I'm sick and tired of going, I don't know, 3 and out, not 3 and out, but when you get to these goal-to-go situations, you kick a short little field goal. That stuff has to change. The Raiders led the league this year in field goals under 30 yards. You want to be a playoff team? Score touchdowns, not field goals. All right, let's look at some defensive coordinator candidates. Wade Phillips is obviously up there because he's expressed some interest, and he is one of the top guys on my list. And no offense to Rod Marinelli. He's getting up there in age, 70 years old. He's shown some good, he's shown some bad, but I definitely think that the defensive line took a step back this past year. And my Paul Gunther replacement video, which I want you guys to please go ahead and check out, some of the names that I really want you to consider: Derek Ansley, he's top up there for me. And then a new guy, Gus Bradley. Gus Bradley today, as I film this video, apparently the Raiders are expressing some interest in him, so keep him in mind. Who knows? He could be the next DC of the Raiders. So again, I asked you OC. You know I was going to do it. I was going to ask you now who's going to be the DC that the Raiders should go out and hire. There's a lot of solid names. I've been getting a lot of love. The Clemson DC is somebody that you guys want to bring, Venables, but I'm actually not 100% sold on him. I think he's kind of a product of a system. I get we draft a lot of Clemson guys, but hey, if you want to throw him in there, that's a great name. Also, the Raheem Morris, the interim coach for the Atlanta Falcons, definitely another name to keep in mind because I don't think he's going to go back to Atlanta. So go down in the comments. Let me know. Name a DC the Raiders should go out and hire. All right, the next topic here is cutting Tyrell Williams. And again, you guys are watching the Las Vegas Raiders Report hosted by Mitchell Renz. And is it time to cut Tyrell? I interviewed Tyrell last offseason, and it pains me to say this, but I'm going to give it 3 Chucky heads. It's pretty likely, and it's basically 4. Talented. We have all seen the talent, but he just can't stay healthy, can't stay on the field. The Raiders can save $11.6 million by moving on from him in 2021, and from what I seen in Week 17, from what I saw earlier on, I know the Raiders are confident in Bryan Edwards, which is the biggest reason why they drafted him in the 3rd round, 81 overall. He possesses the exact same characteristics, the exact same skill set of a guy like Tyrell. Sure, Bryan struggled with injuries at South Carolina as well, but you know who has a lot of confidence in him, and his word might be a little bit, more worthy than mine? It's Jon Gruden. And this is exactly what he had to say after the Week 17 game against the Broncos. He's going to be a great one. He's going to be a heck of a player. He's got a lot of the intangibles off the field that we're looking for. We think we've got 2 young receivers, Ruggs and Edwards, and we're excited about them. And I'm excited about Bryan Edwards. I'm hoping that we get to see a little bit more out of Henry Ruggs as well. And you know what, y'all? I'm hoping that Bryan can really step up and continue to go forward. If you guys like what we're doing here at the Raiders Report, again, I'm going to tell you, hit that big red button that says subscribe. And if you already subbed, take that link that you see below. Send it to some Raider fans. Even though it's the offseason, y'all wear silver and black all the time. It's 2021. Let's get this thing going. So who's the better wide receiver? Jon Gruden spoke that he's highly confident in Edwards, and he's highly confident in Henry Ruggs. I've said multiple times on this show, and I've gotten some backlash for it, but I'm an honest person, and that's what I want to be able to give you guys, transparency. Because if I'm nothing but rainbows and butterflies all the time, then nothing I have to say means anything. So out of the 2 wide receivers that you see on screen, who do you think is the honest, better one? If you think it's Bryan Edwards, type 89. That's his number. Or if you think it's Henry Ruggs, I want you to go down and type 11. All right, the last thing that we're going to talk about here is, are the Raiders going to be moving on from Marcus Mariota in 2021? After his Week 15 performance, I wanted to see a little bit more out of him, but the reasons why that they didn't play him, I think 2 things. They didn't want to give him some extra bonuses, so from his Week 15 performance, Mariota made $1 million and about 3/4 of action. I wish I could do 3/4 of a show and make $1 million. It'd be one hell of a thing. But also, they stuck with Derek Carr, and not only that, they didn't even give Marcus a snap. One of the biggest reasons why he struggled and why the biggest reasons why he didn't play early on in the season, like even a snap or 2, injuries, and he really struggled in training camp. He really struggled with the playbook. So if I'm the Raiders, I try to do 2 things here. First, you try to trade him. You try to see what his trade value is. Spoiler alert, not many people are going to be very interested in a quarterback that's got a lot of injuries, that's had some ups and downs, and you're going to pay him $10 million. It's not going to be very likely. If I can get a 5th-round pick for him, I would do that. I would take a 5th-round pick for him. Probably ain't going to happen, though. But since that's probably not going to happen, then you just you move on from him. You cut him, you save $10.725 million in the offseason. And the last 2 guys that I talked about, Tyrell and Marcus, think about it. That's $21 million. $21 million that you can invest and put to the defense. I know we talk a lot about offense on the show. That's just because most of the people know a lot about the quarterback, or they know a lot about these certain situations. But this is a team that needs defensive help here, right? So I also need your help by subscribing. I hope you guys watch the entire offseason. But I want you to go away thinking about this. For everyone that's out there hating on the offense, it's the defense. The Raiders over the last, the Raiders were 2-6 at home this year, okay? In 3 of those games, the Raiders offense put them in the lead with 1:43 seconds or less in 3 of those games by at least a field goal. All 3 of those games were blown. If those turn into wins like most defenses should be able to do, it's 11-5. It's a totally different season. So even though this year didn't go the way it was supposed to, I would say, and the way that we were hoping, it's okay. Pump the brakes. We're going to get better in the offseason draft, free agency, hopefully some trades as well. Don't miss anything, and hit that subscribe button.